I trust that learning is a fundamental human movement, that in every context we want to learn and understand more, I don't need to worry about people learning what they need to learn. And there is such deep anxiety right now that people have about, they need to learn this, they need to learn that. There's a school that I heard of, I don't know if it still exists, but in that school they had something very simple that they did. There was no more importance accorded to any subject. So everything was equally important. Physical education, art, math, it was all considered exactly equal in importance, and no pressure of any kind on anyone to learn anything faster or slower than they were able. And in that school, as I understood it, in 3rd grade, there was still quite a number of students that couldn't read. And at 5th grade, all of them read above the national average. And that, to me, it has a little bit of that principle. There is, if you remove the pressure that anything has to happen at a particular time, or has to happen at all, I mean, there are still people in the world that not only don't read and write, they don't need to read and write. It's not important for their life. There are not that many people. Most people who don't read and write are very disadvantaged for not knowing how to read and write. But there are certain ways of living where you don't need it. So I want to trust that if the life that a person has requires learning something, they will learn it. And that it's never too early or too late to learn anything. So I wouldn't even have a school. I would have relationships between people, either individually or in groups, where somebody who has it's like, I'd say I want to teach something, and there are people who come because they want to learn it. And what I learned from the way that my sister's family, they raised their son, is there needs to be some useful way of conveying to people who are newer to the world than we are what is possible to learn. Because they might not even know what is possible to learn if it's not shared with them. So they were homeschooling. He was homeschooling his whole life. And from when he was about 10, and he told me a few years ago, he remembers exactly the time when he decided that he's now in charge of his learning. And he designed his schedule, and he asked for support. Like, for example, I don't really want to, I don't trust myself that I will do the everyday Spanish unless it's put in a schedule. So please help me put it in a structure. That's not domination. When he knows that he wants that kind of support, he gets it. But let's say there's a cake that is being baked. There's so much opportunity to look at math when you do baking. Proportions and all of these things, but it's all organic or based on passion of yours or passion of the learner. That's the way that I would organize learning. I wouldn't have schooling. And today, if you want to do this, there is a detox that is necessary. A friend of mine her daughter was in school, and then she left school and started homeschooling. And for 2 months, she did nothing but TV and video games for 2 months.
Wow.
And my friend was smart enough to not intervene, to just let it be. And she told me she's detoxing. And she emerged from that, wanting to do some art first, and then a little bit of this and a little bit of that. So the longer children live in the domination system before they come into, a free learning environment, the less they trust themselves. The way that people respond to being trusted to solve problems.
Like the people you meet in your workshops and
Yes, or not only that, like stories that I read. Yeah.
For you, what gives you hope right now?
what gives me hope right now.
And then you too, of course.
Hope so.
For me, actually, people like you give me hope. Like many people of this young generation I meet who feel very strong and healthy to me. Like built for facing what's happening and with abilities and with some less baggage. So this really.
I have it. I just clean it pretty fast.
Yes, still, but you didn't need 20 years like like Miki took me. Yeah, so this really gives me hope.
And for you, it's old people like me, huh?
Yeah, I honestly think that's a part of an answer for me. That just having that experience of shifting so drastically in so just like 4 or 5 years maybe, that I see that gives me a lot of hope that if you actually do this process well and you support that, because I did it by my own. Like there was no, not by my own obviously, but there was no like design, somebody helping me with that.
No guru.
No guru with that. Then some gurus came, but so I just have a really big trust in that if you provide the support and the right structure, the right design, the right bridge between what happened to you before or up till now, and then what is possible, then it can actually happen. But the bridge is the key for me. So the deschooling process, the detoxification, and all the things that you can do to shift to another world. And I see that this is possible because it happened to me personally. It's still happening, obviously, but I see that there's a huge power in that.